Hello.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you? So excited to be here.
Good. Thank you so much for joining us. I am just going to get Anna on from Zenimal.
Absolutely.
And then we can get started. Let me just give it a... I'm not sure why it's not coming up. Sorry. 1 second. Let's see here.
Oh, I think I see she joined.
Oh, there we go. Got it. Perfect. Okay, awesome. She should be joining us any minute here.
Hi.
Hi.
Look at all of us on here. This is great.
It worked the first time. It's a miracle.
That is a miracle. Oh, yay.
Awesome. Well, as people start joining, I was thinking we could start. I'll introduce myself.
Okay.
And then I'll have you guys introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about your companies, and then we can get started. I have a bunch of questions to ask you, but I'm super excited to start this conversation. I know with the beginning of the school year and the end of summer, this is a great topic for all of us parents that are sending our kids off to their first day of school. I know myself, I'm sending my son to kindergarten on Wednesday, so
big day.
That's such a big day.
Yes, so this is a great topic. So we'll get started. I'm Kristin Hood, and I am mom of 2 and resident gear expert here at Goodbye Gear. And Arlene, would you introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about Mindful Movers?
Absolutely. Hi, I'm Arlene McLean. I'm an elementary school teacher going on 20 plus years. So I have that first day of school jitters in my tummy, just like your kindergartner. And I'm also the founder of Mindful Movers, which is a yoga and mindfulness business that I started with the ultimate goal of teaching youth of all ages lifelong mindfulness and some yoga too along the way to help with that body movement. So hopefully to spread the message, especially in the public school and private school, any school setting, the importance of teaching kids some mindfulness tools as well as math, reading, writing, right? Lifelong skills.
Yeah, that's amazing. Oh, I love that. Awesome. All right, Anna, would you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Zenimal?
Yeah, sure. I'm Anna. I'm the founder of Zenimal, and I am so honored, just first off, just to be here with both of you. Thank you so much for including me and Arlene. Like, what you do is so incredible, and I love sharing a similar mission. And so I created Zenimal a couple of years ago just because I was really wanting a screen-free solution for my kids to learn mindfulness. So I created Zenimal, and it's a little, so embarrassed. Like, I don't have one sitting here. I will grab one. Yeah. I'm like, well, it's just like, so this is it. So it's just a little screen-free meditation tool for kids. It plays 9 guided meditations at the press of a button. And oh, you're so sweet, Yasmin. Thank you. And yeah, I suffered immensely from anxiety as a kid, and it was something that brought me a lot of peace of mindfulness and meditation. And so I thought, like, wondering where my path was going to go once I became a mom, that was something that was really important to me. So yeah, so that's my long-winded explanation of who I am.
Amazing. Well, both of these companies and products help kids so much, so I'm excited to dive in. And I would love to hear from both of you, since you both work on mindfulness and meditation with children. Can you talk a little bit about, like, what are the main benefits that you see in kids who either are doing yoga or are meditating, and, like, what do you see as the main benefit for these kids?
Arlene, do you want to go for, you want to
Sure, I'll
mention
jump
one and then
in.
I'll mention one? Yeah.
Absolutely. The main benefit, I think, is that through mindfulness, children can learn to take that 1 minute, I should say, 1 second pause before there's a reaction. It helps them get in tune with their body, their physical sensations, their emotional feelings as well, and to know there's no judgment. There's no right or wrong with how they're feeling, and then to it actually develops your prefrontal cortex and helps children learn to take a minute and then decide how they'll react. So that self-regulation and being more in tune with their environment around them and their body is the number one benefit, I think. Helps everybody focus more and again, to just know that what they're feeling is okay. There's no judgment, no right or wrong. Just now, what do we do with it?
Yeah, I love that. I know yoga I have a 5-year-old, and I think the breathing part of yoga has been so helpful for him. I notice when he gets frustrated, I'll hear him like doing these deep breaths.
That's great.
And so that's been really cool to see it apply in real life. Like you do it a few times and you're like, oh, I don't know if he's really understanding this, but I've noticed that, and that's been really helpful for us especially going into a new season of life.
Great.
Yeah, I think I could add too, you know, I have a 6-year-old daughter, and I'm already starting to see that inner critic come out in her, and that's just like, you can't, it's really hard to avoid that. And so what meditation does is it starts to quiet down that default mode network, and that's where that inner chatter is coming in, and it can be extremely loud once left unchecked, where everything, like you said, Arlene, everything is a judgment, and every, you know, oh, I'm stupid, I shouldn't have missed that. And like you're labeling absolutely everything that you're experiencing versus just being able to experience, move through it, and then proceed on with the next moment. And so there is a chemical, like you said, Arlene, with the prefrontal cortex, there are chemical changes that happen in the brain, even for our little ones. And Kristin, like you said, you're like, I don't know if it's actually working, you know, but it seems to be helping. But there is science that is behind it that says it's working. I had a hard time leaving my house as a kid. I was so anxious. I would get physically sick. I would vomit at school, or I would vomit at a sleepover. TMI. But it was a visceral reaction, my anxiety, and meditation was the only thing that I could use to just calm me down and get me back to neutral, right? Like I'm not saying like, oh, kids just need to be super duper happy all the time, but like the ability just to get to neutral, especially in a time like this, like I will take that to the bank and say thank you very much. You know, it's amazing.
Yeah, I would agree. I think back, now that you mentioned that, I kind of was thinking back to my childhood, and I wish I'd had all these resources, you know, as a kid, because this wasn't a thing, I guess, when I was growing up. And I can remember having so much anxiety about sports or like sleepovers or whatever it is, and I didn't have the skills to calm myself down. And I can like remember back to all of those times of feeling so anxious, or like going to camp. I remember just like
Camp.
like grown up, going off to summer camp as a kid. So I just love this, because I think both of these things are so helpful for kids today, and especially in the world we live in with all of this chaos. So I'm just so grateful.
And you know, I want to interject, because it's also so important just to talk about it and have these conversations with our kids. You know, when you said that, Anna, too, I was thinking back to, my God, my mother, I think till I was in 6th grade, had to walk me to the bus stop because I'm a homebody, and I hated it. And I remember, I think in 3rd grade, she had me go see the counselor, right? And that was like stigmatized. So number one is to talk to our little people and let them know, hey, I'm feeling nervous, or I felt this today, or you felt that way, and there's no judgment. Let's see what we can do to help you. Oh, sorry, my doggies are barking.
I think another, tool as far as teaching our kids this thing is voicing it for ourselves, verbally saying, oh boy, I'm feeling kind of like, for me today, I could have said like, oh, I'm feeling kind of nervous about this interview that I'm going on Instagram, or whatever it is. Like, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to take a few breaths before this. Do you want to join me, or do you want to watch me do it, or whatever? So that it's this ongoing thing so that they're not sort of looking to be fixed. It's just an ongoing solution, and they see you like, oh, okay, this is even normal for adults. Like this, like you said, like taking away the stigma and knowing that really every single person moves through emotions on some spectrum, right? Like if you're a human being, you're going to experience some level of something. Like we're wired. It's a fight or flight thing. It's a survival thing.
Right.
We're wired to be kind of crazy. But yeah, I think just modeling that for them and having it be super acceptable. And I love that we're here. I love that mental health is like this hot topic, because it makes it kind of a beautiful thing that we all can bond over and feel like that there's that sense of community that we all sort of hunger for, and that sense of fitting in. That's again a survival thing. And like we all fit in our anxious little crazy minds. And I think that's such a neat thing that we, like the three of us did not have growing up. It's like, just be happy, go to your room until you're happy, and then you can come out or whatever, like that was like very much like an 80s thing, right? Or even, like 80s and before. But I'm so happy we're here, and I'm so happy that there's so many people talking about it. It's such a great, it's so not a great time. It's a stressful time, but good things are coming out of it.
Yes, absolutely. Anna, can you talk a little bit about what makes Zenimal different from other meditation apps, and just how the product works, and just a little bit about your experience and with your daughter using it and other kids?
Sure. Yeah. So when like I said, Zenimal kind of came to me in 2015 when my daughter was born, and I started, you're in the hospital, you have all the hormones, like happy, sad, like this is crazy. They just let you take this thing home. And I'm like, well, what have I done? Like, what have I passed on? I had no business having a child if I had anxiety, and like, what am I going to do for her? Like, what am I going to hand her? And so I started looking around. I said, certainly it's 2015. There has to be solutions out there. And my gosh, there are so many apps, and there are so many videos, and pretty cool programs and things like that. And I thought, like, this is great. Like this, there's so much awareness around it. For me, though, I just couldn't imagine giving her a phone and sending her to bed and saying, like, go be mindful, because I love these devices. Like, they're so cool. They give us so many, advantages and things throughout our day, but they are designed to be addictive, and they are designed to give you as much information in a short period of time as possible. And so I thought, like, if there was a screen-free way that was not connected at all, there was no EMFs, like, would that be so cool that you could just safely leave on their pillow, and it's there for them. It's there for them going to bed. It's there for them if they wake up in the middle of the night, and it's safe. And it doesn't involve leaving a cell phone or giving them a cell phone. And so I didn't really find what I wanted. And so I just went off and did it myself. I was an actress and a voiceover artist for a while. I had no business starting a business, but I decided to do it anyway. It was one of those, like, if not me, then who? And so I did it, and the device passes 11 certifications. It's extremely safe. The silicone is a FDA approved food grade, and so it's something that I felt comfortable leaving in my own kid's bed. And the newest device plays 3 sleep sounds as well. So if the unit is plugged in, it will either play relaxing music, ocean waves, or a white noise, which I thought it was useful when people travel and things like that, just to have that ability. And the 9 categories, there are things like sleep, relaxation, breath. Empathy is another huge one. That's empathy and gratitude, I think, are really amazing for going back to school, since that's kind of our theme today. Empathy on, like, how are other kids feeling? What are they experiencing? Or if they're worried about friendships, or someone's being mean to them, like, seeing it from the other perspective is immensely helpful in building resilience for children and for us, right? So yeah, does that answer your question? That was pretty long-winded.
No, that's so great. And I just want to add in, since I know but my son, who's 5, uses the Zenimal, and that's how I found the company. I was just doing research on, like, screen-free meditation options, because I felt the same way as a parent. I don't want to give him my phone.
Right.
And I didn't feel comfortable with him having that in the bed, but he really loved the idea of meditating, and we would do it kind of like for fun as a family sometimes, like when he was getting just really, super energetic or whatnot, we needed to calm down. And so when I found Zenimal, I was so excited, and my son goes to bed with it every night. And it's honestly such a great thing for him. I think for a lot of kids who have I think all kids have a hard transition from okay, we're going to bed, and now what happens? I just lay here. And so I feel like for him, it's this perfect transition where he can meditate and just think, and it's just this calming thing for him, and it's so wonderful. And we take it everywhere. I also love that it's small and you can just pack it with you. We were just gone for 2 weeks, so when we travel, I love it's a consistent thing in his bedtime. So no matter where we are, he knows he's going to meditate before he goes to bed, and it kind of
love it.
Makes the transition really seamless. And then we've also started using it during the days, during quiet time. It's a great sort of thing to trigger, okay, it's quiet time, so we're going to do a quiet time meditation, and then you can play in your room or read books, but I feel like it just helps him calm down. So, and I know I've recommended it to tons of friends and family. It's one of my favorite gifts to give to family members who have young kids. So it's been so great for us. And like you said, there's just nothing else out there that offers this screen-free meditation option for children. So I'm super excited about it, and I feel like every parent needs to know about it.
Oh, that's so nice.
I need an adult version.
They have the adult.
We just released the teen and adult version. I'm
redoing
redoing the meditations for that this week, which is exciting. I tried to get a product developed and done during a pandemic, which was a little rough, so there's some flaws in it. So I'm fixing that this week. But yeah, it does exist. And I think it was when I committed to doing the teen and adult one, it was really when during the pandemic I noticed what I do when I am experiencing something challenging is I won't even notice, but I'll pick up my phone and either just check the time, and not even really check the time, but just pick it up, or open Instagram or whatever with the oh yeah, I'm going to check and make sure there's no messages for Zenimal. It's yeah, that's not what you're doing. You're numbing. You want to and it does because you dive in, you get into the rabbit hole, you're numbed out, you're not worried about your worries. And I think that's so dangerous. I think that it is an addiction, right? Like drugs or alcohol or any of that is obviously less harmful for you. But I did notice myself doing that last year and saying oh, what am I trying to numb here? Oh, there it is. Okay, we have a little anxiety there. Versus something that is away from your phone, and when you pick it up, it's that muscle memory of oh, all I'm gonna do is sit here and be quiet. That's that feel. Your body just automatically. It's not on the defense. It's not going to be ooh, who texted, who emailed. Very seldom do you ever get really awesome rock star news through your phone, right? Yeah. It's usually there isn't always an edge of bummer to something that you're looking at or getting information on. And so I that was why I thought that it was important to have an alternative.
Yeah. I love that you have one for adults and teens. It's just so great. I think a lot of those apps are really distracting, and it's on your phone once again, like you said, so it creates all of those issues. So it's nice to have something that has nothing to do with your phone, and you don't need to worry about it. You can put it away and do a full meditation and not worry about is my phone gonna die, or did I get a phone call or text message or an email? So I used to use one the Calm app, and I feel that's what happens.
And listen, they're awesome. The content on those apps is incredible. The message behind them, the purpose, I think genuinely people had really great intentions. There's a reason there's over 2,500 meditation apps. They're awesome. I use them occasionally. I have a hard time using my own products. I'm super judgy on it. But I still do. And every now and then I'll open up Insight Timer or whatever. And it's, so I never want to totally say well, don't use the apps, because it's no, if that's all you got, use them. Please use them. They're there for good purpose. So I think I speak too harshly sometimes on them, but it's just rationalizing why I did what I did is all.
And that's where, again, teaching mindfulness tools that they don't need to have anything electronic with them at any time, how to anchor themselves in their breath, or using your five senses, or what you see or hear or smell, all the things around you, or what's happening right in the here and now is so wonderful, because they're tools that a child could use anywhere, in school, in a meeting, and trying out for something. And if they learn just a few key strategies, I've done so much mindfulness training over the years in my life, and they all come back to the basic fundamentals of your breath and your body, and just taking a minute and being in tune with yourself. And it's so wonderful that all these tools are out there now for children to learn, and to know that they'll carry them with them wherever they go in any situation. It's just so great.
That's so well said.
Arlene, can you touch a little bit on some of like the basic yoga poses and breathing exercises that you recommend and that you use with kids?
Yeah, absolutely. And it is important to do some of the movement in between some mindfulness practice, especially for little ones, even adults who can't sit a long time, right? And so to know that if you're going to have your little child even sit for 30 seconds, they're not going to lie in this big, deep yogic shavasana, they can't, so teaching them some basic fun yoga poses and some simple mindfulness tools are just wonderful. The classic yoga poses of the down dog and the cat cow poses, where you're doing the down dog and you have them shake out their little tail, and you have them bark. They think that's the greatest. And always coming down to the classic child's pose, or curling up down, just sitting back on your hips and bringing your head down to the floor. And children love to take their arms and wrap them around your back and just put your forehead right down on the floor. Pushing this center spot down is very grounding. And sometimes it's nice to roll from like temple to temple. And sometimes I tell, the students I'm instructing to either be a rock pose, or they pretend to be a little egg. And then we talk about, what animal are you in an egg? What animals come in eggs? And then you can just slowly come up. And that's just a really great grounding pose. And again, it's important to try to get that part of your head on the ground. As far as, and they also love all the balancing poses. Anything to do with balancing is super fun. Any challenges, the classic tree pose, or standing up and having one leg come in and holding your knee and try to balance on that. They think it's so fun. And you really, when you're trying to balance, your mind is not thinking about whatever you might be worrying about. You can't. You have to think about what you're focusing on or balancing. So those are great poses too, if somebody's your child's dysregulated, to sit and try to balance. Say, pick one thing to look at and let's try to lift up one leg, or even put one arm up. Some simple balancing, it really helps them just get out of that dysregulation. As far as breathing, the classic, a fun one is to even pretend it's your birthday and you have a birthday cake in front of you, and take a big breath in and blow out all the candles so you get it all out. That's a fun one. Or that you're inflating a balloon or a beach ball with the in and the out. And it's important to try to have them push it all out. Really try to exaggerate that exhale. It is so wonderful. Or smelling a flower. Pretend you're picking a flower. You're going to smell it. Breathe in and breathe out. The 5-finger breathing one is super simple, where you just have them put their hand out and start at the base of their thumb, and then just trace up. Breathe in, breathe out, in and out. And I tell my students this one a lot, that one you can do, your hand just on your lap and just trace your fingers. Nobody knows what you're doing. So if you're in school and you're nervous about something and you're not sure about something, just put your hand on your lap. And it's only 5 breaths, but it's amazing how it can just help you feel more grounded and just more down to earth, which is a great one. That's a really fun one. And then the other ones too, when I introduce this one a lot, the 5-finger breath, I pretend that I'm at a mountain and we talk about going up the peak and coming down into the valley. and I'll often segue into a conversation about life. You know, we have our pits and we have our peaks, and we'll often do a share on what was or at dinner we'll do a share of our peak and our pit. And I, you know, when I tell the students, I go, you know, and it could be, my pit could be something really stupid, like, oh my gosh, my Starbucks iced tea was the wrong order, or it could be something really serious, like, oh, I had this meeting today and my colleague and I got in a little bit of an argument. So it's great to model with the children some serious pits and peaks and some fun ones, you know. And it's okay. When I've led some mindful movers after school clubs, I've had students who do pit and peak shares and like, I didn't have a pit for today. And I'm like, that wonderful. Or I've had kids who say, hey, I had 2 pits and no peaks, you know. So just letting them know it's okay, whatever they've experienced. So that's a fun one to incorporate with the breathing, the pits and the peaks, or mountains and valleys, I call it too.
I love that. That's so fun. I do the peach in the pit with my son. He
just
started doing that.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I actually love hearing what a 5-year-old, like, what is the, you never know what's coming, what the pit is.
No.
I mean,
but it's so much, you can learn so much on what they do, think, and then you remember, like, oh my gosh, these little people, something I might have thought wasn't important is so significant in their day.
That's been a huge learning piece for me, is understanding, especially because my son hasn't been in a formal school quite yet, and so I'm very nervous. I'm a very nervous mom about the first day of like what kindergartners is going to bring and what that's going to look like for him, and what's going to be the peach in the pit. But that's another question I have is, do you guys have any advice for parents on like ideas or things you can do to just, especially with the beginning of the school year, like advice on getting kids into school, transitioning, like what you can expect, you know, with your kid going into the first few weeks of school, and expectations and things like that. So any advice, I would love it.
I think as I'm also getting ready to, my son has never really been to school. He's going to preschool, and then my daughter will be going to first grade. And I think for me, it's been interesting just to listen and ask questions, but not like, don't make it this whole huge lecture, but just listening and not saying, oh, well, you don't have to worry about that. Don't be afraid of that. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's like, no, in their eyes, like it could be like the biggest monster ever, right? And so I think validating all of that, and then you know, I think there's those 7 C's of building resilience, and I think, you know, also not, it's a delicate balance, right? Of like not letting them sort of victimize themselves, but still validating their feelings but giving them power in those feelings as well, and strength. And hey, yeah, this is not easy that we have to wear masks back at school. I hear you. That I don't really like wearing masks either. Boy, they keep us safe, and you know, this is where we're at right now, and explaining that, and hearing their, you know, why do you not like wearing your mask, and just listening. I think I so often lose opportunities on listening to my kids because I just want them to be happy, right? Like as moms, and parents in general, we're like, oh, just please be happy. It's my only wish in life is for you to be happy. And so when they're suffering, it's like you want to take it away, but you can't. And so just helping them move through that, and breathing and saying that no matter what, you're here for them, like in whatever shape that they're in any moment. Like, you're here to support them, and we're going to get through this together, and we are a family, and you know, whatever that looks like for a child, and just giving as much support as you can, and just listening. That's kind of where I've been at with my kids. Does that help?
Yeah, no, that's great advice. Yes, Liz, that is very good.
Yeah, and I was going to say something similar. First of all, as the parents, take a deep breath. Yeah. Take care of mom and dad and the family and the adults, and take some time for you to breathe, for the parents to breathe. It's so scary to send your little ones off to school for the first time. And so there's a level of trust, and I think relaying to your child that you trust where they're at, they're in a safe place, You're going to miss them so much during the day, but you can't wait to hear what happens, when they get home after school, to share everything, and you'll be right there, waiting for them to hear out as you said, Anna, all the goods and the bads, just to listen. And again, I think that was great advice. You said not to dispel or dissuade anything they say, not, oh, well, that will be okay. Or, just to say, okay, yeah, to validate their feelings. I hear you. That must have been kind of scary when you were the one up at kickball today and you missed the ball. Oh, I'm sorry you felt that way, but that happens sometimes. But I think for the parents to take time for themselves, it's back to school season too. It's, we all have that new level of fear of COVID and germs, and we're sending them, number one, it's scary to send them anyway, but now to trust that they'll be safe health-wise, and for little people they can't see the germs, and we have to wear these masks, and that's so anxiety producing for them. And again, just trusting, letting them have that level of trust. I trust you're going to be okay at school, and we have to wear these masks, and they're there to keep us safe, and it's just something we do. I explain it to my students that the mask wearing, it's a sign of respect. I'm respecting you by wearing your mask in my classroom, and by me wearing my mask, I'm saying I respect you as a person, and I'm respecting your area. And the little ones have personal bubble, that that cloud. Well, now our bubbles are 3 or 6 feet, right? So but explaining that for them too, that we have that personal bubble space, and we're respecting others by maintaining their bubble. That little analogy for kids is always a great one, of the little personal bubble, or like the hula hoop. It's a fun thing to practice too at home. You can get a hula hoop and just place it, have them sit in the middle of it, and have them sit around it and say, hey, this is about 3 feet, or walk around the house or outside. This is about how far I'm supposed to be away from friends and people, and that's respecting them by giving them that hula hoop space. So that's another fun little game to play with the kids.
Yeah, that's very smart and helpful, because my son definitely does not understand personal space.
No, it's hard.
That's also what makes me nervous, I guess. Like all of that, like you said, like the masks and the space and all that, and like as a new parent starting, all the uncertainty. But I love that concept of listening, and also just talking to them in ways that they can understand, and incorporating that into the vocabulary. So that's just so lovely. And this has been so helpful, I think, and will be helpful for all the parents that get to watch, and for me especially, and just learning about all of these great things. And so grateful that people like you exist, both of you, because
thank you.
You are helping our kids learn to be more mindful and to feel calmness when they're stressed. And I just it's so appreciated. So thank you both so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
and
Kristin.
I would love to end it with both of you. Maybe Arlene, you could just tell people where they can find information about Mindful Movers and about you, and then Anna, I'll have you do the same, just so everyone kind of knows where to go and where to find you.
Yay, thanks. This was so great. Such an honor to be with Goodbye Gear and Zenimal. Such a great collaboration. So honored to meet you both. You can find me on Instagram at Mindful Movers Yoga, or at mindfulmoversyoga.com. And on my website, I have a little tips page that I'm going to start updating more. So hopefully a weekly tip will be there every week for families to go to. And if you live in my local area, you'll see some classes posted, the clubs I do after school with students, and also for educators. I think that's number one. Again, we got to take care of the adults out there too.
Yes.
So we can take care of our little people. We need to be resourced to take care of our little friends. So look for me at Mindful Movers Yoga.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
And for me, our website is where you can purchase all of our products. We do have a number of additional sleep meditation cards for all the Zenimals. They just get inserted with a micro SD card. But that's www.zenimals.com, plural. And then we can be found at the Zenimal on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest. just across the board. And then hello@zenimals.com if you have any questions, comments, concerns. We're always there. And thank you so much. It's so very cool to be a part of a partnership with the brand like Goodbye Gear. I think just trying to counteract that entropy that we're all sort of experiencing right now. And so I'm so thankful, and I'm so grateful to be connected with both of you is incredible. And so thank you.
Yes, of course. And thank you both.
Thank you.
For everybody watching and listening, we also have a blog from each of you about your products and your companies, and with more information. So you can check that out on our website under our blog. And we will save this as well so everyone can watch and get more tips and tricks for another time. So thank you both. This was amazing. And I hope you both have a wonderful school year.
Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
too.
You too. Your children will do great.
No,
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye,
Have a great
guys.
day.
Maddie, I don't think, I don't think I can get